Happy Saturday. What's going on? It's Paul Salazar. This is Kyle Emakuchi.
What's up? And we are the boys of Brentwood, but you already know that.
Yes, we are the boys of Brentwood.
Today?
Today, we're going to be showing the viewers what you can buy under $3 million in Brentwood. I'm super excited about this. Again, your idea, which is awesome. I love all your video ideas. So if you're a buyer looking under $3 million, what areas can you buy in Brentwood?
And what do those areas look like?
And Brentwood is also city of LA.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And Brentwood is really big. I don't think people understand how big Brentwood is and all the different areas that it has to offer. It's really awesome.
It's like Brentwood has its own neighborhoods within Brentwood.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
And we're going to show the viewer all those different areas and why they should buy in those areas if they like certain things.
Yeah.
So let's get started.
Let's do it.
So let's look at the screen here. We pull up the MLS. So these are the active properties currently on the market.
Well, if it wasn't too explained already, everything that's highlighted in kind of black, that's Brentwood.
Yes, this is all Brentwood right here. So Brentwood basically goes from Wilshire all the way up past to Mulholland, right? Yeah. All the way like edging Encino.
And follows the 405 to the east.
Yeah.
And then to the west. I'm not exactly sure how they figured out that line, but
yeah, that is it looks like a trail right there, right? Yeah, I have no idea. And it separates Brentwood to the Palisades. But again, it's all city of LA, so just like a neighborhood of LA, right? It's all city of LA. Okay, so let's start. There are there's a lot. There's like 5 or 6 different areas, neighborhoods within Brentwood that have properties under $3 million. Let's start from the north, and then we'll go down to the south.
Sounds good.
Okay, so what we can't see right now is an area way up here, close to Encino, right? It's basically Encino, but you're in Brentwood.
Yeah, I mean, if you take a south of Mulholland, you're in Brentwood. If you take a north of Mulholland, you're in Encino.
Yeah, so
that neighborhood is
it's way up here, right? Let's see here. There we go. So that's way up here. So these are in Brentwood, right? And you can see the price per square foot up here is quite affordable for Brentwood, right? So like this property sold over the last year for $616 a square foot.
Well, let's do this. Before we start talking about price per square foot and comparing those, let's talk about what the neighborhoods are.
Okay, perfect.
So what are the neighborhoods that we should be looking at, or you'll see clusters of the $3 million pockets, right?
Okay.
So the first one?
I would call it Brentwood Encino adjacent.
Brentwood, Encino adjacent?
Yeah. I don't know if there's a name for that for this area, but it's off of Mulholland, basically, right? And then going south, you have Mountain Gate. And what is Mountain Gate?
Mountain Gate it's very similar to Calabasas. So Mountain Gate is more of a community feel, more of a gated community. Yeah. It's a little bit track home-esque per se.
For sure.
And then they have golf courses, they have pickleball, they have tennis courts.
I don't know if they have pickleball, but I know they have tennis courts.
They have tennis courts that can make into pickleball, so you got to be
a little bit more. I don't know, because I know how certain tennis court people are.
100%.
And some are like, no, you're not playing pickleball on my court.
Either
right?
way, you got a clubhouse there.
Yes, you have a clubhouse there.
Gated community.
And it's gated community. Mm-hmm. And it's basically in between like Sunset and Mulholland off the 405, north of the Getty, on the west side of the 405. And then as we're going south.
But what you have to take into mind, too, is there's going to be an HOA in there.
Yes.
So it's a little different.
Yeah.
It's not freestanding. You are living by someone else's guidelines,
yes.
CCNRs.
Yes.
So it's just something to keep in mind if you're looking to live in Brentwood, a single family. It still has that condo-esque feel where it's HOA adjacent, or it is HOA.
Yeah.
So just something to keep in mind.
Yeah. Not high HOAs though, which is great. No. Just also a little bit further away from everything else. So you're kind of secluded. But people may like that, right?
Yeah.
So let's work our way down south. But before we do that, we have to go a little bit west to Mandeville Canyon, right? So these houses right here, even they're very, very close on the map to Mountain Gate, it's actually off of Mandeville Canyon. So this is this is Sunset and Mulholland right here. And this canyon goes way up. It's 6 miles all the way up here. I mean, it just keeps going and going and going and going. Look at that. That's super far. This will take with no traffic, about 15 minutes. If there's traffic, it could be 25 minutes to go all the way up here. But you're in a very secluded area. We'll get into more detail about that, right? Mm-hmm. So that's Mandeville Canyon. Okay. Let's go down a little bit further south. Off of Mandeville Canyon, you have kind of like the West Ridge area, which is a street off of Mandeville Canyon that goes up a hill, and you're up on this little hill on the west side of Mandeville Canyon, right? And so like this house right here is on West Ridge.
Yep.
And this is also a nice community, and we'll talk about, why you would like it if you're into, views and whatnot. And then your favorite area.
Yeah, Crestwood Hills.
Yes, Crestwood Hills.
Why do you like
Crestwood Hills?
The architecture is amazing.
Yeah.
There's mid-century modern, Quincy Jones's.
Yeah.
Each house has its own little flair.
Yeah.
When something comes onto market in that neighborhood, if it's priced well,
boom,
just gets taken out.
The highest price per square foot.
And in this neighborhood.
And all of Brentwood under $3 million.
Oh yeah.
But we'll explain why.
Yeah, 100%.
We'll explain why. All right, we'll talk about more of your
Let's go east to the 405.
Let's do it.
And what do we got going on?
Well, before we go east, let's make sure that we're going east in a certain direction. We're going to Bundy first and Bowling Green.
You want to go south then?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So Bundy and Bowling Green, let's talk about the north part of Sunset. Yeah. Bundy and Bowling Green both go north, and then they're parallel until they reach each other on the top, and it takes over, and Bundy takes over for the rest. Right. It's a flat piece of land, so it's more. There's a lot of tear down opportunities. There's a lot of development opportunities. And there's a lot of older houses that are there that are smaller per what the lot offers. So you see a lot of these properties trading for south of $3 million to developers that need to be tear down or not.
Like
so
this one here.
Yeah.
This one sold to a developer.
Oh, it did.
Right. 314 North Bowling Greenway.
There's a couple if you keep going down.
Yeah. So a lot of these are, but look, this can also be for an end user that wants to be in this neighborhood. It's a great neighborhood. Yeah. Great walkability. You're close to Sunset. You're not too far from the action, not too far from maybe if you're working at Cedars or at UCLA. It's really close by, right? So not too far up the hill.
No. It's actually still flat, which is probably the biggest thing for developers is Bundy and Bowling Green are flat for a majority of the time until Bundy takes over, and it's still flat for the most part, except when Bundy comes up to the hill and goes into the canyon a little bit more. Yeah. But the development opportunity there is there, so it's kind of what we're working with.
All right, cool. So next, Brentwood Glen. Talk about that. Right
Brentwood Glen it's interesting. It's kind of its own little pocket because it's sitting right adjacent or right brushed against the 405. Yep. So it's like little streets that come off that go directly perpendicular to the 405. There's only a few ways to get there, if not one way to get there. If you're taking the 405, you can get off on Sepulveda, or you can get on Sepulveda and just go all the way up. But outside of that, there's really not a direct route to get to that part.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's either Sunset or Wilshire, right? Yeah. And obviously downside is that you're close to the 405, right? But besides that, it's also, it kind of has a Bowling Green / Bundy feel to it, like close to Sunset, like that's like the smaller houses, smaller lots. But as you can see, there's a decent amount of sales under $3 million in the last 12 months.
Yeah, the issue I would believe is most buyers is you can hear the 405.
Yeah, it's so close.
It's so close. It is what it is. If you don't mind the background noise or the ambient noise, like sleeping with a fan on at night, it's not terrible,
Or you can think of it as like, the ocean waves.
That's it, man. Let's gotta use your mind.
Right? Just be very, very positive about the.
You got it. Hey, you're getting in Brentwood south of $3 million, so you might as well take it.
And every time you hear like a big truck go by, it's maybe like a wave crashing.
Yeah, bigger
to
one.
You,
Yeah, just usually a very small, settled sea until a big wave crashes through.
All right.
But I mean, with this one,
go ahead.
Let's go back. Sepulveda is. You're dealing with two different animals, right? So Bowling Green and Bundy, they are going to be dealing with the bottleneck of Sunset going to 405. Yeah. And then that's traffic from 3 to 7 p.m. Or, the schools in the morning are from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. You're going to be dealing with a lot of traffic in and out. And then Brentwood Glen, you're going to be dealing with the actual rush hour traffic of the highway. Yeah. So Sepulveda is all backed up, not maybe as backed up. You're closer to the highway, which is nice. So those waves coming in just make you remind you that you don't have to sit in Sunset traffic this whole time.
Yeah. Okay. My favorite part of Brentwood, under $3 million, is this area here. It's south of Sunset, also south of San Vicente. So like in between Wilshire and Sunset, right? So this whole area right here. And the reason why is because you can walk to all the restaurants on San Vicente. You got Pisciana, you have John and Vinny's, you have Toscana, you have Sugarfish. There's so many amazing restaurants.
You have the workouts there, you have the cafes
Orange Theory,
there.
You have everything. Coral Tree Cafe. You have Bel Air. You have great live music on the weekend. So, we'll go into that a little bit more. Yep. But those are the different districts. If you're looking to buy under $3 million in Brentwood, you're looking at these different areas. So let's go and decipher each area.
Yeah, let's do it.
And we'll tell you why you should buy in that area.
Well, before we decipher each one individually, do you want to go through the price per square foot of each one, and we can dive into why, or do you want to dive into why?
Good question. I would rather go into each neighborhood.
Okay.
And we'll talk about the price per square foot, and then at the end we'll do an overview of everything.
Sound
good? All right. So let's go. We can go to the top here, right? Mm-hmm. This really doesn't feel to me like Brentwood. It's more Encino, you know?
You have the zip code.
It's just the zip code, 90049, right? But besides that really is, I mean, you have a good school here, Milken School. It's close to the 405, which is nice, so you can hop on and off the freeway. You're right on the top of the ridge.
And Mulholland doesn't have terrible traffic. I mean, yes, it does have traffic, but I mean, compared to getting off of Sunset and sitting another 30 minutes before getting there, it's nice. It's a different feel for sure. So yeah, I mean, it's a little bit more away, as we said, and that's really all I got for it.
Yeah, I mean, and you can buy a place under $1,000 a foot here.
Yeah,
which is great.
That's the big thing. Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. That's more of a, I guess like an Encino feel. Still beautiful. You're up on top of the mountain. A lot cooler.
Yeah.
A lot cooler up there, right? Because you're up probably 3,000 feet above sea level compared to being a little bit south. All right, Mountain Gate. Let's talk about Mountain Gate.
Yeah.
Let me pull up Google Earth because Mountain Gate is really cool. I like it. Let's see here. Where are we at here? We are. Oh, look at that. That is Mountain Gate. Look at the golf course there. That's pretty cool. If you like golf, if you like a community feel where you can invite your friends to come golf. Invite them to come play tennis.
I mean, also the safety aspect of it,
and
too.
The safety aspect, that's
You're
huge.
behind a gated community, and like we talked about in one of our previous videos, is that the burglary and crime is a little bit higher than it was, 75% year over year.
Yeah.
So being behind gates is a huge win for a lot of people.
I love that. That's huge.
That is huge.
So security, it's probably quieter up there, too.
Oh, yeah.
100%. It's like you go up there and you're like, it's like I'm sure everybody like knows each other.
You can walk the streets. You can
walk
take
the
kids
streets.
out
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a community. It's a neighborhood.
Yeah.
It is. If you think it's a negative, more track home-esque, more individual builders. There's not as much personality in this area as far as exteriors and architecture goes.
100%. That's a good point. There's some houses with some views here. Not a lot, but there are some. You do get some freeway noise. In certain houses, more than others. You're not at the top of the ridge, but you're pretty high up there, which is nice. You're going to deal with anything north of Sunset. You're going to deal with the high insurance. So we should probably talk about that a little bit too, because that's a big issue right now.
It is. So if you need insurance quotes, if one of you guys are the 70,000 policies that are being canceled, please reach out to us. We have an amazing insurance program. But the insurance is going to be a little bit higher, unfortunately. Sometimes, depending on where you are, I can't speak for all of them. It's just important to have that looked at if you're going through that change.
Yeah, and this is actually kind of similar to like Bel Air Crest in the way that it's a gated community, and that's directly across the way. So this is Mountain Gate right here, and then you go directly across the 405. And
Bel Air Crest reminds me a lot of Bel Air Crest to Bel Air is Mountain Gate to Brentwood.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I feel it.
Yeah, without the golf course though.
Without the golf course,
which makes Mountain Gate really nice. Okay, let's go directly west from here, because then we can go south, and that is Upper Mandeville Canyon. This feels like
Laurel Canyon.
Laurel Canyon.
If you're going to Studio City, Studio City to Laurel Canyon is Brentwood to Mandeville Canyon.
Yeah. So like you can, should we show the viewers some of the houses that they can buy?
100%.
Right?
Let's check it out.
All right. Well, let's do a couple Mountain Gate ones. There's on the market right now on Ridge Circle. Again, a little bit more track home-esque, but beautiful interiors.
Oh, yeah.
3,500 square feet for $2.6 million.
How much is the HOA looking on this one? Are we able to check it out?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we'll go here. HOA here. Yeah, it's not that cheap.
It's a lot.
I thought it was cheaper.
Yeah. No.
So under $2,000. But you know, again, you're and this is also not a single family; it's a townhouse.
Yeah.
What else can you find here in Mountain Gate right now? Is this one on Canyonback? 3,500 square feet, $795 a foot. I mean, you can't find that anywhere else.
Yeah, you can't. But
Brentwood.
you're also dealing with the added additional fees of the HOA. It has its pros and cons.
Yeah,
obviously.
this is much less here. This one here.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how they calculate the HOA, but look at the views from there. Beautiful. From the back, you got the mountain views. And like you said, the architecture is going to be pretty much the same. So you're not going to have the influence of the A. Quincy Jones and the other big architects.
Or
yeah.
Whatever the case may be. It's it has its pros and cons. If you don't really care and you just want a nice house for your family and a safe community and something where you're in Brentwood and you have the golf courses and you have everything of that aspect, who cares what the exterior of your house looks like if you don't care?
100%.
And they're not ugly houses.
No, they're not ugly. And the interiors of these that we just saw, they're really nice. Yeah. All right, so let's move directly west into Upper Mandeville Canyon. Yeah. Again, we said Laurel Canyon-esque feel.
Yeah, if you follow this street, just for the viewers looking, I mean, if you look down and kind of open it, this is just one street, and you'll see that riddled by houses that are south of $3 million.
Yeah,
so you can see it's just one.
It goes from Sunset to the top of Mandeville is 6 miles.
Yeah.
So it's basically like, it's a 15-minute drive without traffic. But with traffic, which is probably going to be
street. So
it's a one-way street.
Not a one-way street. It's a one lane.
One lane, exactly. Yeah. So like, unless you're really good at passing cars, which is probably not recommended here,
No, because then everyone else is going to be sitting behind your accident that you caused.
Exactly. But really, really cool feel. A couple downsides is that it will get dark earlier than other areas because it's in a canyon.
That's what you'll see too, is houses that are on the east versus houses that are on the west in the canyon.
Yes,
they're going to be priced, or they should be priced differently. And if you don't have an agent that's representing the price of what your sun is, it's very important for the natural sun.
Sun exposure is really important. Yeah,
huge,
for sure.
Especially when it's 3 p.m. and your house is pitch black. It's a big issue. So if you price it based on other houses and look at comps or data points that are kind of a little bit more. Yes, the house is the same thing, but it's in the canyon. It's going to be completely different. Yeah, and you got to really know what's going on in that with the sun.
It's so important. Yeah. So like if you see my mouse over here on this side, this is going to get a lot more sun and this is on the east side compared to the west side of this canyon, where they're closer to this ridge up here. So when the sun is setting on this west side, boom, the shade hits this part sooner.
Oh, yeah.
So even if you're like, these houses over here, they may get an extra 30 to 45 to an hour. That's a long time.
Oh, yeah.
That's a long time, right? But a great mountain feel. Again, insurance is going to be high here, obviously. So we'll have to deal with that. But if you want seclusion, if you want quiet, if you want nature, then you
step outside and breathe.
Then you move up here.
Take it on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you don't care about driving up and you don't care about getting another 15, 25 minutes added to your trip. I mean, look at this house. Look at the greenery in the front picture.
Look at that nice driveway. Look at the interior. This is a really cool house.
It is.
It's like a California ranch style house. Updated interiors. $2.8 million. This one's sold. Nice pool. It's a great backyard.
It's gorgeous.
I mean, for just over $1,000 a foot. With this kind of backyard.
I mean, that's hard to turn down.
Yeah.
I would drive that extra 15 minutes to
yeah, for sure.
live in that.
And then you got something for $1.7 million. That's cheap. Let's see this one. Probably needs a little bit of work. But under $2 million, like you put in,
we just saw it.
Yeah. Well, was that was a little bit larger, but still, right? Like this can be easily a $2.3 million house if you fix it up. And this needs some work. All right. It has a nice pool, single story, really cool.
A little ranch.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's head down Mandeville and let's talk about West Ridge area, which is this little. I have to show you the viewers on the map what this looks like, because this is a really interesting part of Mandeville Canyon. It's not in Mandeville Canyon. It's kind of like on the hill just west of it. Oh, this is really big. Let me just zoom out here a little bit. So you see this here on the right, you have the canyon. That's Mandeville Canyon. On the top here is kind of like a flat, not flat, but it's a flatter part of the mountain. So it's not a straight ridge like this, Kyle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The mountain goes up like this, and it's like this up top there. So it's kind of have like a plateauish feel up there, but it's not flat. No. It's got these.
It's got a little unique vibe.
Yeah, yeah. Like so the terrain is not completely flat, but you're up higher and you're not in a canyon. Mm-hmm. So these houses are not getting dark in the early evening or early afternoon in the wintertime, right? And some have views. Mm-hmm. Some have ocean views, some have mountain views, and some have no views. Yeah. So it's very funky. It's very funky. It's really cool.
It is.
And it's not that far up. I mean, obviously, it depends how far up you go up Westridge.
It's all subjective, but also like it's 100%. Depending on where it is.
Yeah,
it's not as far north.
And Westridge is just about 1 block or 2 blocks north of Sunset on Mandeville Canyon. You make a left, and you're going up that hill right away. So you're going up that hill, and there's houses, up towards 30, 40 million. I don't think 40. I think about to $30 million. Mm-hmm. I'm sure in the future there will be, right? But there's some massive houses. Well, I mean, one just went on the contract for about $23 million. Mm-hmm. So let's see what's available there for under $3 million. This one probably sold for under 3. Oh, okay. Let's look at this one here, 2.7. La Condesa. 2,800 square feet, so a little bit less than 1,000 a foot, which is great. Cool greenery. Single story. Yeah, beautiful greenery. You're in the hillside again, so again, you have to deal with high insurance. That's going to be anything north of Sunset. But this is a cool property. Look at the backyard. Mm-hmm. I like it. Look, it's not completely updated and new, but I think it's a cool house. Let's go down here. Something active on the market right now on Westridge. 2,000 square feet. So this is a lot more than 1,000 a foot, but this has views.
It does.
Right? So when you're looking at these properties, make sure you're talking to the boys at Brentwood that we understand how to evaluate these kind of properties, right? When you're evaluating luxury properties, especially in north of Sunset and Brentwood or any of the hill areas in LA, there's so much that goes into evaluating.
Especially right now.
Yes.
Because we are in, I don't know if you saw our last news report that we had to come out, we're in the tale of two cities right now.
Yeah.
If you are overpricing your asset right now, it's going to sit and you're going to be chasing whatever market is left from when you're chasing it.
Yeah.
And if you underprice it, not so much underprice it, but let's say an appraised value is X amount and you come in 5% under that, you're going to generate multiple offers. If your marketing is correct, if everything is on fire and everything is great. It's really important. You don't want things sitting because then people think, okay, obviously there's something wrong with it, and all these mental aspects come into it. So it's really important to make sure that you're pricing your asset correctly.
Yeah, agreed. And this is obviously worth more because it has views compared to something that doesn't have views. But what kind of view does it have? Is it west? Is it south? Is it east? Right? South is always the best because you get a little bit of both west and east, and then west is the second best because you get the sunsets, and then east, and then you have north views too. Not a lot of north view properties, but there are some. This is a nice property. Not a lot of flat land like a yard. They did a nice job staging it. Not a big lot. This, not a big yard. So probably not for like a family with kids. Okay, cool. So we went over that area. Let's go over your favorite area, Crestwood Hills.
Let's do it. Crestwood Hills.
Let's do it. All right, so let's talk about Crestwood Hills. Because Crestwood Hills is just east of Kenter. And the reason why it's also part of an HOA. Yeah. It's not a gated community.
Well, a lot of the houses are historic, you know, so they can't be touched. They can't be anything that's physically altering on the exterior, or most of the time also on the interior. Yeah. You can't really do much to it because a lot of them are Quincy Jones. A lot of them are Neutras. A lot of them are mid-century moderns that are just so well done that they want to preserve them and make them like kind of timeless. So you have east, it's going to be Tiger Tail and Stonehill, and then on the west, it's, I guess, Kenter leads up to it, but that would be the closest street that kind of brushes against it. One of these right now that's on the market, you can see it's a Quincy Jones. It Gorgeous. Is mid-century modern. Look at the interior.
Wow, they did a great job. It's basically in its original condition, and it's just been kept up so nice. And it looks like they probably staged it awesome house.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look at this. This is original.
I mean, look at the lights on the top left.
These are the heating lamps. Oh, I love heating lamps. Getting out of the shower and having the heating lamps. Yeah. Especially after a cold shower, that'd be nice. Cool.
Yeah, this is on Hanley. Hanley is one of the main streets that go from east to west, that connect the two roads that I was talking about.
But I mean, what is your favorite street in Crestwood Hills?
In Crestwood Hills or in
Crestwood Hills?
I mean, Stone Hill is like kind of on the tip of it, but
it is there, yeah. Right?
Stonehill.
Stonehill. There you go.
I mean,
that's a cool
properties
cool
up on Stonehill don't come on the market often at all.
There's only how many houses are on that ridge?
I don't know, like 34 maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it's but Stonehill is the same thing as Hanley. It's if you drive through Hanley or if you drive through Stonehill is going to be on top of Tiger Tail. It's most mid-century moderns, and not all of them, but a lot of them are. Stonehill just has the views, depending on which side you're on, of looking all over Los Angeles. So Henley is more of a in the woods, a little bit bigger lots, not as many views for the most part. The architecture is very similar. So Quincy Jones basically took this mountain and said, this is going to be mine for the next ever. And he just basically turned this into a mid-century modern masterpiece.
And as you walk down Stonehill, I mean, you have the most explosive views of the Queen's Necklace, of Catalina. It's insane. So this is the street right here that we're talking about, is this street right here. As you walk down, you have the most insane views of the city right here.
And again, this one, the lots are a little bit smaller. The houses are a little bit smaller as well. But both Hanley or Crestwood Hills, including Hanley, including Stonehill, the houses that are mid-century modern and smaller, they're going for $1,500 a square foot, if not a little bit more, because it's obviously the architecture, and obviously people really mentally attract to that, the mid-century modern feel. And depending if you want views or if you want shade and trees, it's kind of a win-win from both sides.
I mean, this one's asking, and this is already in multiple offers, this is asking $1,400 a square foot. And it's probably going to sell for more. I mean, we don't know that, but we know it has multiple offers on it. And
but now compare that to north of the North Brentwood, the Mulholland area. You know, that was selling south of $1,000 a foot.
It was like 700
$700 a foot. So this
Mountain
is almost,
Gate was the same thing. It's double.
So it's Brentwood. It's under $3 million, but one is selling for $790 a foot, and one is selling for multiple offers of $1,400 a foot.
Yeah.
So doing comparables and data points, I mean, you can't really just say, oh, this is Brentwood, so that one sold, and this one did that. And
yeah, for sure. Every like you said, there's a lot of neighborhoods within the neighborhood of Brentwood in Los Angeles.
It's like Inception. It's like neighborhoods within neighborhoods.
Right?
Within
Go
neighborhoods.
down, right? Yeah. It's like
and then it's streets, and then it's east, west, views.
No views, flat lot, small lot, right? I mean, there's so many. Yeah, you're right. Privacy, no privacy.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of houses that are completely private and they're worth more, and there's some that there's houses looking right into it.
Yeah.
And, you know, a buyer may not pay as much. Okay. Let's continue down. This is a really good video. Very detailed. I love it. Let's go. Bundy and Bowling Green.
Yeah. We kind of touched on that. We could go in a little bit more detail.
I think just quickly, why can you buy a house under $3 million off Bowling Green or Bundy?
They're older houses.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
They haven't been maintained for the most part in a long time. I can't speak for every house, but every house that I've seen that traded under $3 million, it has a notice of demolition about 2 months later.
Yeah.
You know, so it's one of those aspects where you have a $12 million house sitting on the same size lot of a $3 million house that's sold for it. That's obviously half the size. And you can see here in the Bowling Green one, this needs a full gut, but it's sitting on how big of a lot?
This is sitting, I think, on a 7,000 square foot lot. But we know the owner of this house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
7,000 feet. And we know that he's doing work to it.
Yes, he's adding a second story.
Yeah. So for $3 million, you're buying a teardown.
Yeah.
Or you can fix up the property and live in it.
Yeah.
It's close to Sunset, which is great. The neighbors are nice. They're walking their dogs. It's pretty flat for the most part on Bowling Green and Bundy until you go up Bundy a little bit further north where it gets hilly. Well, but it's a nice walkable area.
It is. It's just down here, it's house. Where up on Stonehill, Stonehill's house. Yeah. Hanley and Crestwood Hills, for the most part, it's house, trees, a little bit more privacy, a lot of trees.
For sure.
But then again, right here, you are right north of Sunset, so you can get out and in pretty easy.
Yeah.
Granted, Crestwood Hills is not that further north, but it's
yeah. And then you go up here, up like North Bundy, and you get a house for $1,000 a foot.
Yeah.
And this is a nice house, right? It's done.
Yeah, but Bundy, depending on how far north you go, you're going to be sitting in the canyon again.
Again, and then that's a good point. Let's talk about that, because you are in the canyon again on Bundy, and especially the issues that Bundy has been having with the overflow of the rain coming in from Tiger Tail. You know, so you have if you're in the canyon, you have Tiger Tail on one side, and remind me the other one on the other side. But either way, it's coming in, and the rain. Saltair on the other side, yeah.
So the rain is making, I guess, the edges break off. And,
it's just causing erosion.
Thank you. Erosion.
You know, I mean, look, you got the fires, you have the rain, you have the drought as well, which also dries up everything, and then you got a lot of rain all at once. So there's a lot of issues there, right? And they're trying to deal with that right now. But I wanted to show the viewers. All right, cool. So let's talk about this here, because you were like talking about, it's flat right here. This is Bowling Green, and this is Bundy right here. And as you go up the canyon, it becomes like the canyon is flat, closer to Sunset, and then it becomes you're going into the canyon as you're going up, and then it becomes more like a Mandeville Canyon, where it's not as bad as Mandeville Canyon in terms of how steep the side mountains are, but you're still in the canyon. Again, if you're on the west side of the street, it gets darker and blah blah. Okay, cool. Let's move on, because we got a lot more to cover. Brentwood Glen. We talked about this briefly. It's close to the freeway. You get the freeway noise. Location-wise, it's great, because you can hop on and off the freeway, which is awesome. Yep. But of course, you're dealing with the pollution and the noise, right? Yeah. So I mean, I don't think there's much more else to say. It's a great little community. I mean,
it's also walkable. You know, you do have 405, but the 405 is up. Like almost like 2 stories up.
It is up. It's
so
true.
It's not like right on.
That's a good point.
You have to go under the overpass to get there, which is a big difference than being level with what the 405 is.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Which I think should be noted, is that you're not the freeway is a little bit higher.
Also, it has sound barriers. I don't know really how much that does, but it's still a neighborhood. You know, it's still a nice little walkable neighborhood.
Yeah, and it's all flat.
Yeah.
You know, this is all flat right here, and this is just west of the 405. Walkability to restaurants, like none of the areas that we've talked to so far have walkable areas to like main Brentwood shopping district, which is like San Vicente. Yeah. Which is where we're gonna go next.
Well, you have a little cafe right here south of the Shell gas station that I really like.
Like over here on the left?
On the right, on the east side. If you go under the overpass, there's a little cafe right there.
Like over here?
Yeah.
Right here?
No, to your right.
Right here?
Yeah,
right here?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
A little cafe that has really good sandwiches.
Is that where you guess your sandwiches after?
Sometimes.
Yeah, you do? Okay.
Sometimes after door knocking.
I didn't know that. That's good to know. All right, cool. So let's talk about my favorite area, and I'll take over, because I lived here for 8 years.
Yes, you did.
Off of Barrington in Kiowa. In my single years, I'm still single. So this is a shout out, right? Obviously. Shameless.
You're a lady in Brentwood.
Yeah, shameless shout out. All right. South of Sunset.
Yeah.
And also south of San Vicente. Well, let's talk about Sunset, in between Sunset and San Vicente. This is a really nice area, right?
It is. It's a great area. Don't get me wrong. There is so much traffic here too. It's so hard to get in and out.
A lot of traffic.
Granted, you can walk from here. It's not as far. It's only 2, 3, 4 blocks depending on what you want to do. But it's very neighborhood feely. But at 3 to 5, 3 to 6, 3 to 7, it's really hard to get in and out. It's tough. You're not as pigeonholed as what you are north of Sunset, but at the same time, you're dealing with a lot of the through traffic. That's it's kind of intense.
100%. So you have to be okay with all that. Those are the negatives.
Yeah, and there's a lot of positives. Don't get me wrong.
And the positive is there's no views here.
No.
And there's also no views off of Brentwood Glen, so we have to make sure all the viewers know that. Yep. There's not a lot of view properties within the under $3 million range, except for West Ridge, some in Crestwood Hill, some in Mountain Gate. Actually, yeah, there's a few. Now that I think about it. Yeah. But the main thing here is that if you want to be walkable, then this is your area. Yeah. If you want to be able to walk to restaurants and not drive, This is your area. And you don't deal with traffic.
It's also not as, I would say, claustrophobic, if you want to use that word. Because if you're north of Sunset, you know, if you're north in Mandeville Canyon and there's only one way in, one way out. And
that's a good point.
If I need to leave, it's like, is it worth leaving? Is it worth going to the grocery store at this time? Is it worth doing this at this time? I would say a lot of people do not move based on the certain time of day and depending on what their activities are. If you're down here, you're closer. Yes, not that much closer, but it is a big difference what that sunset cutoff makes. So it's not as claustrophobic down there if you want to get in and out.
And we didn't really talk about in this price range, there's going to be a lot of young families.
Yeah.
And their kids are going to go to Kenter Canyon.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're going to be going to Kenter Canyon and you want to be close, Crestwood Hills is going to be ideal.
Amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
That's probably going to be like the best area for you, or off of Bundy or Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Or in this little area that's walkable to the shopping district off of San Vicente.
I agree.
And also the famous Brentwood Farmers Market right here.
Oh, yeah.
Which is awesome. Off of Gretna
I get a
Green.
lot of sandwiches there, too.
Oh, this is I love the farmers market.
Yeah,
it's
me too.
awesome. Okay, I think that is it. That is a great.
Do we want to talk about south of San Vicente?
Oh yes, yes, yeah. We do. So this is okay. So this district here, where you see all these buildings on the kind of like in the middle of the screen, those are all condos and apartments, right? A lot of density, right? And just west of that is a great neighborhood that is full of nice single-family houses. And this is also a great area, walkable area as well. Again, you're also kind of walkable to the Brentwood Country Club if you have a membership there.
Yeah, but do you want to walk there without with your golf clubs?
Definitely not. No. Definitely not. No, definitely not. That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point. But people love to run around.
Of course. Even running up and down San Vicente is awesome.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, I did that grass patch in the middle.
Oh yeah, that's great. All the cool coral trees are right in the middle.
Yeah.
This area is probably the most walkable area under $3 million in Brentwood because you have restaurants off of Wilshire. You have Air One down here. You have Trader Joe's over here. You have Whole Foods over here. You have the Air One right there. It's on the map. So yeah, that's a great neighborhood.
And also you have a secondary way to get out. You had Sunset to the north, you have Wilshire to the south, and you have San Vicente. So you don't have to sit in Sunset to get from Sunset to the 405.
Yeah. Great. I mean, look, if you guys have any questions about where to buy in Brentwood in any price range, we know it. You know, we love the area. We love to analyze it too. If you have any questions about how we analyzed it, if we missed an area that you want us to do, please let us know. And I don't know how long this area will be available under $3 million, right? It is,
the way the market's going right now is going to be interesting to say.
Yeah, for sure. We don't know.
But again, anything under $3 million, if it's priced correctly, is going to sell.
And multiples in a weekend.
Yeah,
for sure.
So it's important that to see that, hey, listen, the market is a little bit slower, but south of $3 million in Brentwood is not so much.
It's still, I mean, look, if we look at how many houses are on the market active under $3 million in Brentwood, only 14 houses. 14 houses.
And we know 2 of those have multiple offers on them.
Yeah, and most of those areas maybe only have 1 or 2 houses in that general neighborhood. Yeah. Right.
So when something comes up in the general neighborhood,
there's only a couple, right? So like, you're right. If you're a buyer, you're probably going to be like, all right, I want to be in this area. There's probably going to be 1 or 2 houses available under $3 million. Yeah. You know, we didn't really talk about this area right here, which is kind of southwest part of Brentwood.
Near the Riviera.
Yes, exactly. Kind of close to the Riviera, just past Mandeville Canyon. This is kind of like in Sullivan Canyon, where they have the horses at.
We'll call that the outlier.
The outlier, yeah. I mean, look,
it's a great spot. I mean, I love the Riviera; it's so nice. But this is also a development project.
Yeah.
Oh no, this one's not. Smaller lot, great area.
It's off of Sunset. So yeah, it's gonna be it's also across the street from the school.
The lot is a little small.
All right. Well, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching. The Boys of Brentwood analyzing
$3 million south in Brentwood. We are the Boys of Brentwood.
Later. See you guys. Bye.